Hello, Nina Khrushcheva here, Bruno Kreisky Forum Fellow. We all followed the dramatic return of Alexei Nawalny to Mother Russia the other day. Nawalny, as you remember, human rights activist, lawyer, and an opposition blogger. And he was allegedly poisoned in August in Tomsk, in a Siberian city, by the military-grade agent Novichok. Navalny contends that it happened on Putin's orders, but Russia denies it, though it never really investigated the incident and never really gave a plausible explanation as to who did it, except that it must be a CIA plot. Navalny was airlifted to Germany and spent 6 months there recuperating. But he didn't waste any time. And while there, he increased his proof that the Russian security forces must be behind his poisoning. His criticism of the Kremlin authorities were becoming too devastating, too destabilizing for the state, given the COVID pandemic, and even more importantly, with events in Belarus in the summer, when the opposition mounted a formidable campaign against its long-lasting, strong-hand ruler, Alexander Lukashenko. After this new Navalny investigations, in one, he posed as a security boss and called one of his alleged poisoners, recording the whole hour of this conversation, and in which essentially the man admitted the deed of the poisoning. After this, other security parts of the Russian state kicked in. Over the years, Navalny was accused of embezzlement of many companies. He was a lawyer, and so he worked as a lawyer. One time, ridiculous charge, he was stealing wood from wood logging company, and the most recent one is the corruption in the beauty firm Yves Rocher. In 2014, he received a conditional sentence, according to which he was supposed to register with police every 2 weeks. The case was closed in 2018, though the conditional sentence was supposed to end only on December 30th, 2020, so just at the end of last year. Don't ask me why. Conveniently, because Navalny was in Germany, not of his own will, and he said himself that much, but was relieved from the hospital there in Berlin. In September, one of the legal branches of the Russian government decided to declare him in violation of the law. It is a ridiculous charge, but also a very important one, because an illusory crime that the state no longer feels it needs to defend, no matter how probable it looks. We also saw this with Navalny's arrival just a few days ago at the airport. First it was one airport, then it was another airport. Many people, thousands showed up, despite it was the coldest night of the year. So people were very much interested in his fate, and people were being violently detained just for being there without even reference to Navalny at all. Then there was a very speedy trial on January 18th at a police station, which also is a violation of every possible rule and any possible law. Now he's detained for another 30 days with a request to assign to him an actual prison time for the Yves Rocher case, which the case now is legally over. So all this shows that the Kremlin had dropped every modicum of decorum when it comes to Navalny. And this is despite the fact that the whole world's attention and negative reaction is trained on Russia at the moment. Why is Putin so blatantly illegal? In the last 6 months, Navalny turned into a global politician. He's not just a local problem for Putin anymore. He is an international problem. He talks to world leaders. They trust his investigations more than they trust Putin's denials. In this sense, Navalny now is on par with Alexander Solzhenitsyn, the great author of the Gulag Archipelago, and Andrei Sakharov, the nuclear scientist. These were the great human rights martyrs of the Soviet regime. On one hand, this is a problem for the Kremlin, have a martyr on its hand. But it also could be a solution. If Western powers are behind Navalny and behind his poisoning, and behind him altogether, he must be a Western agent trying to undermine Russia's state at the CIA orders. And if this is the case, anything can be done to Kim, regardless of how horrible and cruel it looks from the outside, for the sake of national security. In this regard, the Capitol insurrection in Washington, D.C. on January 6th is also a great cover for the Kremlin. In America, they do everything in their power to protect democracy. We in Russia do everything in our power to protect the state. Understanding all this, why would Navalny return? It was certainly the Kremlin's hope that he would not. A politician in exile is only half a politician. But Navalny is not half, and not a half politician. In returning, he made himself a complete political equal to Putin, who, by the way, dismisses him also by never referring to Navalny by name. That, in fact, reduces Putin in half. Such a powerful man with all his security and can do anything with just a blogger, as they call him. The more they show their fear of Navalny, the stronger he or his image becomes, creating may not immediate, but certainly more political problems inside Russia, let alone globally. More and more people seeing him as a hero and Putin as a pimple. Putin's better bet is to return Navalny into local politics, to release him and let him expose corruption, pretending that Putin has nothing to do with this. But that too can invigorate the masses. So the next month will be very critical in this regard. For decades, Putin has been an excellent tactician, able to outsmart his enemies. It is possible that Alexei Navalny is a problem he can't solve, even by trying to kill him. Thank you.